Top 10 teams after week 8 in the NFL. Indianapolis Colts, I have as number one team, if you want to call this my power rankings or whatever, but top 10 teams after week 8, Indianapolis Colts are number one. For me, it's pretty simple. They have the best record in the NFL. And, you can talk about some of the teams they've beaten, but if you're beating teams that aren't that good and you're beating them handily, which is what's happening for the most part, the Colts when they beat a bad team, they're beating them bad. So that's what you want to see. I mean, you can only play who you play, but if you win easily over the bad teams and then you beat the good teams as well, that's recipe for a winning team and a team that should be number one. Their only loss was to the Rams, and that was a close game. And the Rams, I have number 4 on this list. So they've only lost to one team, and that team is in this top 10 list. Now, number 2, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles, and put them there because they've got 3 wins against teams in this top 10 list. That's one of the few teams on the whole top 10 that have beaten teams on this list, more than one team on this list. And they've done it against 3. And then most of their wins are actually against good teams, not teams that have losing records. And just for an example, and you don't see, if you're looking at this on the screen, if you're watching it on YouTube, you don't see the Buffalo Bills on this top 10 list. And to be honest with you, immediately when I started this list, I put them right on the list. I went down the rankings, standings, that is, and I put this teams with 6-2 on it right away, and then also teams that were 5-1 or as the Colts are, 7-1. And then I said, okay, and then I started moving them around as I started trying to look up their numbers and so forth. So as I did that, I kept pumping the Buffalo Bills down and down and down. Excuse me. And that was because as I looked at games, I looked at it and I saw that the Buffalo Bills have not beat a team with a winning record. And their 2 losses are teams that did have a winning record, but they haven't beaten a team with a winning record. And I was just a little surprised by that. Now you have to, you play who you play again, but unlike the Colts, they weren't able to beat the teams that had a winning record. So I kept bumping them, and maybe they should be in the top 10. It really actually gets a little bit tricky as you get down this list as to, for example, who should be number 10 or number 7 or something like that. But it is what it is. That's just a little explanation. So the Eagles, number 2, and I just thought they've played some pretty good teams and come out on the winning end for the most part. Denver Broncos I have is number 3. They've won their last 5 games. One of their losses was to the Colts, and they only lost by 1 point. So they played the Colts tough, and almost came out with a win against the team I consider number 1 right now. Los Angeles Rams, number 4. And they beat the Colts. They're the only team that has beat the Colts. So that was a point in their favor. And then their offense and defense is good, pretty good. And the games they have lost were only to teams in the top 10. Some of them, like Buffalo, you lost to a team that you shouldn't have lost to, the Atlanta Falcons. How do you lose to the Atlanta Falcons? They're such an up and down team. And then you have I almost didn't have Green Bay in this because of their tie against the Cowboys and their loss against the Browns. But they did have some other good wins. I'll get to them in a minute. So that's what I'm saying is sometimes you look at these teams and you go, how do you lose to a certain team?